Friends, feds pretending to be friends, how's your 401k feeling? Because mine is feeling decidedly unburdened by what has been. Look, Kamala's a day drinker, folks, not an accountant. The only time Kamala says no to a drink is when she misunderstands the question. Either way, as soon as you handed a woman the wheel, you should have known she'd crash the economy.
Good luck, everybody else!
Into the rear bumper of another economy. Women are like falling raindrops. They can't drive. So sure as schnapps, we crashed harder than a Windows 11 PC. Now, much of this BS and ballyhoo was down to the tism in the tech sector over the last week. Amazon and Apple plummeted 4%. Facebook and Google, 2%. Hold for applause. Look, Nvidia alone evidently starved of revenue now that most of the planet's caught on to the fact that Bitcoin holds its value about as well as water-damaged Pogs, is down over 6%. Indeed, the NASDAQ index at large, largely top-heavy with tech companies, would lose nearly 3% of its overall value in less time than it took to slow-cook a rump roast, while the similarly tech-centric Japanese Nikkei index did a 12.4% death dive, the largest single plummet since the 1987 stock crash, which spawned the initial recession from which Japan is yet to technically emerge in over 3 decades. How ass over tea kettle awful has the past 48 hours been? Put it this way. The death spiral was so severe, it tripped a compulsory emergency firewall, which automatically ends trading for the day to head off the effects of prolonged panic selling. That about size it up for you? And America was much the same, with investment app Robinhood putting a prolonged pause on 24-hour trading to avoid a result that looked more like the 1920s than the 2020s. But fret thee not, nut hammocks, for the Democratic coalition has a socio-political superhero on the horizon to save us all from a grocery bill with more zeros than the Japanese Air Force.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I feel more saved than the Apostle Paul. And it's doubtless this inexhaustible font of newfound confidence that informed no fewer than 2 separate economic advisors in Biden's misadministration when they took a long walk off a short plank this week. First, Anita Dunn went on her merry Menshevik way, followed immediately by economic advisor Gene Sperling. And I can't stress this enough. These economic advisors were the people who've been actually running the country while Grandpa Poopy Pants gets shuttled around to baseball games and Girl Scout conferences, or as I call them, the Scratch and Sniff Tour. But wait! It's not a resignation at all, but a DEI-style resigmotion. For Gene Sperling is not leaving the Biden administration in a well-warranted cloud of Keynesian shame, but rather, like Anita Dunce before him, they're answering the call of Kamala. Anita Dunn being a key component of Wine Cooler Kamala's principal super PAC now, while Mr. Sperling hopes to work the same black magic he spun on our gas and grocery bills as an economic advisor for same. Why, one can only speculate what monetary miracles await us all now that the man who turned a trip to Target into an installment plan has hooked up with a candidate so bad with money she ran clean out of cash before the California primaries. Anyone else experiencing the rising urge to collect bottle caps as currency? So how did we get here? I'll tell you what. I'll let one of Biden and Kamala's economic archons explain in dizzying intellectual detail.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money. Some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds.
Sleep tight, everyone! And the Biden clan's China White uncut cope of blaming Trump for an inherited recession, one largely caused by COVID measures both Biden and Kamala argued should have been even more financially disastrous, is connecting about as well as Kamala's weave. Hence his most recent Hail Mary of claiming he cured the economy.
Cured the economy. And the environment. And a few other small things.
Yeah, you know what else gets cured, Uncle Bad Touch? Dead meat. In case you're curious, that clip is from only a few days ago, and at that point, the stock market's 5-alarm fire sale had already gone from flamin' hot to habanero hot to more on fire than John Travolta's drapes. But the social media spin cycle revolved undeterred by the towering inferno, and if you doubt the veracity of that statement, consider for a sec that in all of 22 days, we went from Trump surviving a bullet to the entire media calling him a coward because Kamala refuses to debate him. Folks, at that point, Reuters could report the Foot Clan were bombarding Baghdad, flanked by the Flying Monkey Brigade, and Rob Reiner would be 20 tweets into the declamatory thread before anyone on the left even considered someone in the media might be more full of shit than the only porta potty at Coachella. Indeed, an astonishing quantity of knuckle-dragon NPCs sucked that narrative down and asked for seconds, thirds, and fourths. And speaking of such, can we just take a beat to properly appreciate the imponderable psyop we've only just emerged from before we move on to the next? For 8 years, we had the entire mainstream media questioning Trump's physical fitness because of how he gripped a water glass and walked down a slippery ramp on a windy day. Trump just got by a bullet. Biden ended his career over a cough. So when these fake tan, tight-faced titwanks tell you the economy's at an all-time high, or the Kamala's a brat meme you've never seen anyone in the real world even dimly acknowledge as somehow sweeping the nation, stop believing these bitch-made Marxists. If CNN reports a rain shower, I can be struck by lightning and still need a second opinion. And if it's even the slightest bit different for you, kick it on over to your cranial surgeon and demand a dipshit of me. Not since Snoop Dogg tossed Kamala's salad has this much smoke been blown up a human being's butthole. Sure, bitch, you're a brat, a buzzed, retarded-ass tanky. I'm Razor Fist. Godspeed.
Can't you see that it feels like a new era? Down in flames, taking control of my heart.
Come on, man. How many push-ups you want to do here, pal?